For Lost Media fans, 2024 has been a huge year. Several big discoveries have been made that many thought would be forever unsolved. That said, whenever something is solved, new cases pop up to keep the scene hooked. So that's this video. This is Lost and Found Media Cases Volume 2. From Sonic to Pokemon to Found to ongoing cases and everything in between. This is a grab bag of Lost Media content that I think is worth covering. If you have any Lost Media tips, hit up my email. With that out of the way, let's start the video. Pokemon, Sonic, Mario, and SpongeBob, the four horsemen of Lost Media. Swap one of them out for Doraemon if you feel like a weeaboo. 2024 saw one of the biggest leaks in Pokemon history, dubbed the Teraleak due to how much information was found. So there's a lot to go over. It's always fun seeing Pokemon evolve from their concept stage to the final title. Some highlights include an early Metagross that looked like a nightmare from a depraved serial killer. Gen 3 starters could have looked like this. This dude was supposed to randomly evolve into any Pokemon. I assume it got canned because of balance concerns. Most importantly, Peanut Boy here got scrapped. Whoever axed this design better have gotten demoted at Game Freak. And I think this is supposed to be an ice Pokemon, so now I can call this a winter episode. Look, it does not snow much in Tokyo. My apartment's small. I've not been to a single house in Japan with a chimney. We gotta make some compromises here. The most important part is the game, so what has Game Freak been cooking? Pokemon Rodeo was a multiplayer game where you try to tame berserk Pokemon throughout various regions. If you ever wanted to ride on a Pokemon like a horsey, well, you're going to have to wait another day. Or maybe commission some Ratchet fan art. Rodeo was scratched but might be changed into a new title called Synapse. While I could not find anything about this title, it's supposed to be a multiplayer game that's kind of like Splatoon. Pokemon Legends Z to A's main campaign is playable from start to finish on PC, but no one is sharing because they don't want the hand from the heavens to erase them. Z to A was supposed to release in 2024, but got delayed. The next generation of Pokemon is codenamed Gaia, with potential names being Gaiac and Gaian. It's speculated that the names come from the words Kaze and Nami, respectively. An interview from 2022 implies that there will be some kind of islands to explore to catch Pokemon, possibly inspired by Greece. Keep in mind this might not be the case with how long these games have been in development for. More information about Gaia has been leaking, but for now, I want to only focus on what was in the Teraleak. For non-games, an animation is in the works for Netflix, as well as a live-action series. There are 2 movies planned, one being a sequel to Detective Pikachu. Though given issues between Legendary and Warner, the writer's strike, and Marvel Jesus being busy, it might be cancelled. The other is the 24th Pokemon movie, codenamed Bauer. It was directed by the guy who makes them whack-ass Detective Conan movies. It focuses on the original 151 Pokemon, and appeals to older women. Bauer was slated to release in summer 2023, which goes without saying did not happen. Bauer is stuck in development limbo, so if you were trying to hit on older women at a Pokemon movie, you're going to have to wait another day, assuming the movie ever escapes development hell. $1 million idea here, Game Freak. Just rebrand that Pokemon Mate app you and Square Enix made a while back, and rebrand that as a true Pokemon dating app. I really do feel like there will be some people who meet their partners through Pokemon, and you might make some money off of it too, which would be a bonus. Some other odds and ends include early builds of previous Pokemon titles, a DS remake of Super Yoshi no Tamago that hasn't seen the light of day, and some lore written about Pokemon. And oh boy, the Pokemon degeneracy extends to the staff. It's not uncommon to see a creator's kinks sink into their work. Quentin Tarantino likes feet, Kenichiro Takaki likes big old anime tits, the guy who made Wonder Woman liked being dominated by women, and Marathon is into, well, many different things. Well, all of that pales in comparison to what I'm about to read to you. Long ago, when the boundary between Pokemon and humans was unclear, a woman and her friends went into the forest to torture Slakoths. The main woman was captured by a Vigoroth after she fell from a tree. She woke up to a place that was surrounded by corpses of hanging Slakoths and Vigoroths that the woman and her friends killed. The woman tried to flee the scene, but fainted upon seeing a Slaking. She then woke up back in her village to discover that she was pregnant. She gave birth to a beautiful baby Slakoth, a baby that was promptly found and killed by her former friends. Overwhelmed with sorrow, the woman then took the head of her baby into the lake where the hanging corpses were, and went into the lake to join her child in heaven. Since then, the Slakoths and humans lived together in harmony. That was the story of the original sin of the Pokemon world.
Dude, I just looked at
Pokemon.
The thing he was talking about. That's true. That's like 100%. Everything he said was true.
It was a tough choice between reading this one, the story of the Typhlosion gaslighting a girl into being his lover, or the guy who got his freak on with an octillery. Fun fact, that's how the Squid Kids were made in Splatoon. They truly are game freaks, aren't they? Leaks are always a double-edged sword. On one hand, all the surprises that you had planned are laid bare, and your horrible, dark, grotesque fanfictions are now out in the open for all to be tortured with. On the other hand, it's cool to know how things are being made and what we have to look forward to, or what could have been. Pokemon and Lost Media fans were eating good with the Teraleak. Just be careful next time you browse fan art of Slackhoth or Typhlosion fan art on Pixiv or DeviantArt.
Watch right here, right here.
I couldn't resist. Prototypes are always fun to see, and one we saw in 2024 was the PlayStation 2 version of Sonic Heroes. This build is dated September 28th, 2003, only a few months before the game's release. So for the most part, the game is in a similar state to the final product, other than some things not being polished, or polished, because this is the PAL build. Surprisingly, the frame rate is a consistent 50 FPS because PAL territory was allergic to 60 FPS for a long period of time. With that said, the two-player mode takes a dive in performance. Heroes is an important game in Sonic's history. It was the first major Sonic title after Sega went third-party. Originally, Heroes was only going to be made for the Xbox and GameCube, but Sony threatened Sega for a port, so Sonic Team had to scramble to get the game working on PS2, which proved to be difficult. Iizuka had to pull double duty as a director and level designer after one of them got sick. There were only two designers, by the way. The game had to be out by a certain time, so bug testing had to get rushed. Sega only said that game-breaking bugs would be fixed. The final project is very much playable, but it is a bit buggy and slippery at places. There are rumors that Sega is planning a remake or a remaster of Heroes, which would be really cool. A lot of people like the game, and I think a remake with some cleaned up controls would be awesome. Also of note, in 2018, Shiro Maekawa tweeted the original team ideas for Heroes. Rouge was with Cream and Amy for Team Ladies Night. Omega was not around, but we would have gotten a team with a rebuilt Gamma to join Big and Chaos. Fang, Bark, Bean, Ray, Mighty, and Metal Sonic would have been playable, including teams Sonic and Chaotix. That would have been a total of 6 teams for 18 playable characters. It was a better call to keep the game focused on 4. There were debates about keeping Shadow dead within Sonic Team at the time, and I guess they were going to keep him dead until fans demanded more Shadow. Very ironic with this video being made in the year of Shadow. In 2023, an early script was found, and outside of some name changes, the script is mostly the same, though there is a mention of a Christmas-themed level. There we go, now it's a Christmas episode! Merry Christmas, everybody! Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays, and of course, happy birthday to Keith, Kyle, Aoi, and Yumi. I hope you guys are doing great out there. Sonic has been good about staying on television. However, there's a noticeable gap between Sonic X and Sonic Boom. So was there a Sonic cartoon planned in that period of time? And as it turns out, there was. Originally, the only confirmation of this show existing was from the LinkedIn profile of Grant Morin. It was commissioned by Sega with Fuzz Entertainment in 2007. For the longest time, there was nothing known about this show other than it existed, but quickly vanished into obscurity. However, in 2024, concept art has been found. Gary Montalbano sent this concept art to Alex Hedgefox on Twitter. Leave me a comment if you still call it Twitter. For me, personally, I'm going to be sailing those blue skies. Check the link below. According to emails sent to Alex, there was a nature versus technology theme going on, kind of like Sonic SatAM. It's hard to say how the show would have looked if it went into full production. At the time, Western animation was going through a bit of a rough spot, not to mention Sonic himself, whose games released during that time frame left a lot to be desired, to say the least. So I think a combination of those things is why the Fuzz cartoon never got off the ground. At the very least, we got Sonic Boom. The games were total diarrhea, but the show was fun. I am so glad Sonic is great again. Professor Layton is one of those series that I recognize but never played. I know he fought against Phoenix Wright once, and that makes Layton closer to Marvel vs. Capcom 3. A spin-off called Mansion of the Deathly Mirror was released by Factor 5 for flip phones in 2008. If someone played it in Wisconsin, we'd come full circle. There was an update of the game called Professor Layton and the Mansion of the Deathly Mirror remix for a different service as a part of the Layton Mobile R thing. The service went offline in 2014, so it was no longer possible to download the Layton mobile games. Thankfully, the first 3 chapters of the 2008 game were backed up online, and Twitter user UV found the remaining 3, so the 2008 game can be enjoyed. Remakes can only be seen via archived footage. There ended up being way more Layton lost media than I realized, but so far only this piece of the Layton puzzle has been solved. Professor Layton and the lost media. Get on that game, Factor 5. I feel like I've talked about Astro Boy more than anyone else on YouTube this year. There was an Astro Boy movie based on the 2003 series. We're not talking about the Nicolas Cage one today, sadly. A movie titled Tetsuwan Atamu, The Visitor of 100,000 Light Years, IGZA. It was released in 2005. The plot goes that a robot named IGZA came from a distant planet after he destroyed all humans on it.
Kill all humans. Kill all humans. Must kill all humans.
IGZA was infected with a special virus and he needs Astro's body to heal up. He takes over Astro in order to destroy all humans on Earth, which is the same thing as voting for Trump. Astro battles IGZA to protect Earth. According to info from that era, the movie was around 41 minutes long, which isn't a movie, just an OVA, but I digress. And according to reports, it was shown at science museums, because Astro battling a genocidal robot is good for learning astronomy. There's also rumor that Meiji sponsored the movie, but their copyright isn't on Tezuka's site. Other than some trailers, one of which is on the Tezuka Productions YouTube channel, some screenshots, and some pics of the screeners, the whole thing has not seen a re-release. The 2003 Astro Boy show is on streaming service Unext, and upon searching the service, they don't have the movie. They have the rest of the series, and they have all the HBO stuff, which is really cool, but I ain't paying that much for a streaming service. There were a lot of these kinds of anime that were made for planetariums and museums and stuff in the mid-2000s. Science can get boring, but get some anime girls to teach me chemistry? I am acing that test. It would have been better than that awful Chem 105 professor I had at UNM. I had to change my major because of that guy. My only theory is that because of the educational nature of the movie, there wasn't much of a reason to keep the thing around once the screeners were over. It's just weird that Tezuka would go out of their way to make an IMAX movie of their biggest show at the time and not bother to put it on DVD. Though this dude saw the director's cut of the movie. Okay bro, lay off the galaxy gas, why don't ya? Crayon Shin-chan is a cultural institution in Japan, but not so much in the States. I did watch the Adult Swim broadcast, which I thought was funny, but it didn't set the rest of America on fire. The show has over 1,300 episodes and counting, not to mention endless spin-offs, movies, games, and more. Unsurprisingly, with a series that big, something is going to get lost. One episode was 93. Each episode has 3 segments, and based on the title, the 3rd segment was a promotion for the kingdom, Crayon Shin-chan and the hidden treasure of the Booty Booty Kingdom. While the series has been good about being archived, this one episode not being saved is strange. I could understand the 3rd segment not being worth keeping around, given that it's a promo for a movie, but the other 2 segments did not need to get dragged down to hell with it. In November 2019, the 1st segment, Shodo de Kokoro o Meni Suruzo, was found. In 2024, Reddit user Sheath Sears revealed that they have a recording for it. They grew up watching tapes back in the day, as their parents were old-school anime fans involved in the early tape sharing and fan dubbing days. They got the recording from the TV station Kiku Honolulu. Sheath Sears uploaded some clips to show that they were serious. Another user named Chimpuzzle uploaded his own fansub, which he got from a Japanese broadcast. So there's 2 different broadcasts of Crayon Shin-chan episode 93 archived for all to enjoy. I call this mission a rousing success. Fire Emblem, the series that pisses off Nintendo tubers. I like the series as a vibe. Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Fire Emblem Warriors are the best games in the series by far. The hentai of the Fire Emblem women is cool too. Around Halloween 2019, in an episode of the Kinda Funny game show, Imran Khan said this.
When that happened, I had heard Nintendo canceled a bunch of further 3DS plans.
Oh, really?
So I would not be shocked to see those games eventually come to Switch too. I know there was another Fire Emblem remake in the works for 3DS. And that was one of the things that, they shuttered. So maybe that's one of the things they do bring forward in the future.
Basically, the Mario & Luigi remake on the 3DS sold poorly, and it caused Nintendo to get cold feet about supporting the 3DS any further. Whatever games that Nintendo had in the oven around that time were either shelved or moved to the Switch. It makes sense. Nintendo only kept the 3DS around as an emergency in case the Switch didn't do so well. You could see that with the 3DS having less releases in 2017 and especially 2018. By mid-2017, the Switch's success was clear, so Nintendo could start quietly phasing out the 3DS. A major 3DS title releasing in 2019 was going to do poorly in sales, no matter what game it was. It did not help that this one was released right after the holiday season and on the same day as another Mario game on the Switch. There is more weight to Khan's claims about a Fire Emblem remake. Engage's codename was Iron 19, while Three Houses was Iron 17, so more than likely Iron 18 would have been this lost Fire Emblem game. But unless there's some major leaks that Nintendo will never know for sure. What do you guys think? Was another Fire Emblem 3DS game ever in the works? And what Fire Emblem game do you think needs a remake? I say Kid Icarus Uprising. AD 1999, I hope this game would have had Limp Bizkit and the Dreamcast in it. Devil Buster is an obscure Genesis game that would have been an early title in the Shin Megami Tensei series. According to Sega Retro, this game was being developed by Sims. Screenshots make it look like some kind of platformer or action game where you could play as different characters, like a robot, devil, or waifu, in order to stop the resurrection of the Demon King. It was supposed to release in 1993, but didn't. Apparently, Sims was working on 2 games at once, and there were people at Sims with both health and tech issues. Sims' other game, Shin Megami Tensei on the Mega CD, was closer to being finished, so Alice more than likely prioritized that. It sounds like Devil Buster was close to being done, so there is a sliver of a chance that a ROM might be in some archive. I had a Genesis growing up, and I think Devil Buster would have made a solid addition to that collection. Thank you to D. Martinez for tipping me off to this game. If you like fashion and 70s aesthetics, then do I have the anime for you. Well, I would if more of it was available. Mon Cherie CoCo was a manga from Waki Yamato. Nippon TV gave it an anime in 1972. Right from the start, you can tell that this series was not made with a high budget. And according to Hiroshi Shimosaki, that was the case. Not only that, producer Kiyoshi Watanabe resigned from Nippon TV. Since there was not a lot of money going around, Mon Cherie fell from memory as soon as the broadcast ended. For a while, only the intro and outro were saved. Video VHS on Twitter managed to find and upload some clips of episodes 1, 3, and 5 in June 2024. Then they found another clip from episode 12 that same month. Finding anything from this series is tough, given its age and obscurity. The hunt is still on for this shoujo series. It reminds me of Hazeidan, which never got a home release, but the entire series was in a private collection, so there's a chance that Mon Cherie CoCo is in some private collection, and hopefully they share. The Nintendo 64 is a lost media paradise. There are so many cancelled games for that system that it took multiple videos from Digino Gaming to cover, as well as a half-hour video from yours truly. Sometimes these cancelled games get found, and that's the case of RIQA. RIQA, along with Eternal Darkness, were revealed in a May 1999 issue of Nintendo Power. While Eternal Darkness did see release on the GameCube, RIQA fell from memory. According to the Games Radar article, Nintendo was going to publish the title for the 64 but lost interest in it for one reason or another. Tenshu, one of the developers on the game, took it upon themselves to upload several prototype ROMs of RIQA for all to enjoy. I respect it. It's better to have your work out there than for it to languish in obscurity. That's what happened with the Kingdom Hearts Animatic. The guy who worked on it had a near-death experience and decided to release it. Better to have it out there in case another situation like that happens again. RIQA looked to be an action game with a female character, seemingly riding off the coattails of Lara Croft's triangle tits. It looks fun enough. The prototype is just that, so I am sure that the final game would have been more polished. It did not deserve its fate. At the end of the day, it's a huge win that RIQA was saved and Tenshu's work can be seen. And there we go, there are some lost media cases finished, and I hope you enjoyed it. The most important thing about a lost media video is just simply to be talking about it. You never know who's going to be watching, or might know someone that was like, oh yeah, I know someone who worked on that project. Oh, this thing is really lost. I actually know where that is. I feel like a lot of the cases that have been solved recently have been solved because people have been simply talking about these cases for years, and now we have answers to those cases. At the end of the day, just keep talking about it. But let me know down there in the comments, what's the lost media case that you've been keeping up with? Let me know down there in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell as well for notifications on future videos. Follow me on the social media accounts like Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok at ZMangs. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video. Everybody, take care.